Sifter for the ear.
News, interviews, reviews, cinema, TV, streaming. Action!
Hi y'all, this is Jerry Williams, aka TV Jerry. The James River Film Society has announced two cool autumn events. Both are part of their Silent Music Revival, where a silent classic is shown, and it's scored with live music. The first one is Friday the 19th of September at the Poe Museum. It'll be featuring silent era films based on the author's work, with a score by Gull. The second is on October 26th at Dogwood Dell Amphitheater featuring The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari with score by Miramar, and it's free. I'll have a link to these on the webpage for this show at tvjerry.com.
There was never before seen footage from her TV shows. She brought us such a wealth of archives that we could talk about, and she could share with us the stories. It was amazing.
That was Andrea Meyerson talking about having Lily Tomlin as a guest on her Women on the Net community of lesbians that was started during COVID. She's also the co-producer with director Catherine L. Baranik of An Unexpected Community, the documentary about this group of women and the story about how these Zoom events grew. Andrea and Catherine are my guests today to talk about the film, which will screen at this year's Virginia Queer Film Festival, running September 12th through 14th at Old Dominion University in Norfolk.
Sifter Review of the Week.
Hostage on Netflix. Heads of State came out in July on Amazon Prime. It put the male leaders of the U.S. and Britain in comic danger and was very funny. Taking an entirely different approach and gender, Hostage puts two female leaders of France, Julie Delpy, and Britain, Saran Jones, on a more serious path to thriller land. The PM's husband is kidnapped, which starts the action, but when the visiting French president is blackmailed, things get complicated. This is a twisty, sometimes tense political drama that's sharply written and effectively performed. Even though there may be some things that stretch credibility, the taut direction and smart script keep it involving and electrifying right up to the end. I gave Hostage 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm delighted to be joined here with Catherine and Andrea. Catherine was the director of the documentary, and Andrea was co-producer and also the creator of Women on the Net. Welcome to Sifter for the Ear.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Thanks for having us.
Certainly. Now, first of all, Andrea, I have to ask you, because since it's about women on the net, how did you come up with this idea?
I run an organization called Women on a Roll. In fact, we are currently this month celebrating the 30th anniversary of that organization.
Wow, congratulations.
Through running that organization, I got into production, and now it's really fallen into where I take women traveling around the world. So 2020, my group had just returned from a trip to Thailand, and within a week, we're isolating at home. And everything I was planning that year started shutting down, including in May, I was producing a Brandi Carlile concert. And I was, of course, distraught, as many of us were, like, our lives were kind of came to a screaming halt.
Yeah.
And I got a little down. And then I had heard of this thing called Zoom. It wasn't a household word in that window of time.
Yeah, COVID made it a household word.
Yeah. So I called my person that I work with from a tech standpoint and said, hey, you know what, start me a Zoom account. I think I'm going to start doing gatherings for women. And I launched this within a week, and that's what happened. And we're doing 5 nights a week, sometimes 3 times a night at the time.
Wow. Because
of the different time zones, and I didn't have, so it just kind of snowballed. And I had no idea that I'd be sitting here 5 years later still doing it.
How'd you find the original people? Were they women that you had worked with on your tours and things, and you just sent them all emails?
I have a really big following because I've been doing women's events and travel since 1995 with Women on a Roll. So I used my Women on a Roll subscriber list to announce, hey, join us for our launch, which was like March something, 2020. And then I just started taking all the people that I'd worked with live, the lesbian singers and comedians, musicians, all different performers. Then I just started getting really creative because what else are you going to do during COVID?
Yeah.
So I just started thinking, we could do game shows. We could do theme parties, social gatherings where we could just talk, dance parties. I was a little out of control. I kind of felt like it was a network that people can tune into pretty much every day.
Catherine, I want to ask you about making the documentary, obviously, in a minute, but I have one other question about that. I notice when there are people performing, I'm assuming when you've got that many people on Zoom, you can't just have random everybody talking and saying what they want. Did you had to exert some kind of control over conversations, right?
We would let everybody into a song and we would spotlight them, and that was the entrance. When that music died, I'd welcome everybody, and we'd start out with a little tech talk, what I called. Right. So we would tell everybody to stay on mute. Sometimes the comedians didn't want them to stay muted because they wanted to hear their laughter.
Sure.
But mainly when people were performing, it was everybody should, and we could mute people. We had the control to do that. And then when we would open up for the Q&As, because every time a performer came on, we would want them to offer a talk back where what made it special was you're not just watching, but you're participating, and that interactive, that made it really special because people got to talk to their favorite lesbian performer. It just made it very special for people to talk to their icons and their idols and their favorite performers.
Surprise guest drop-in.
Now, Catherine, like I said, I want to talk to you about the documentary, but before we do, somebody wanted to drop in and say hello with y'all.
Hi.
So Eric just dropped in just for a minute to talk about the festival. Welcome y'all to the festival.
Footnote.
Eric House is the president and director of the Virginia Queer Film Festival. So congratulations on, is this the third year, I believe? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Seems like the 30th year, but yeah, it's the third year.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Queer Festival.
This year, we've had a record number of film selections that are going to make up the festival, 33 films from 11 countries around the world, which is really cool,
wow, yeah.
I think. Yeah. And just a wide variety of topics. And we're just going to have a 3-day-long queer film festival and have some fun and watch movies.
There you go. Yeah. Catherine or Andrea, either one of you planning to be here?
I'm trying to be there. I lived in Norfolk for a few years back in the 90s, and I was working at WVEC as a producer-director. I really like the city, and one of my best friends and her wife live there, and I would love to see them. So this seems like a perfect excuse.
Oh, cool. So in addition to the films, Eric, are there other events going on?
Yeah, so we have a pretty high-profile local celebrity filmmaker writer who is the vice president of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, in addition to everything else he does. So he has a book option out, which is an autobiography called Like Crazy, and it's about his mother's mental illness. And what's happening right now is there's some pretty high-profile Hollywood actresses. He mentioned Jane Fonda the other day was interested in playing this role.
Wow.
So he's going to come do a workshop. And then on top of that, his husband, Jack, is a Emmy Award-winning production designer for any number of Hollywood film houses and television productions as well. So that's going to be a real great workshop that'll be on Saturday morning for about an hour. And I just think the kids that are at the university that are interested in going into either one of those careers are really going to get a lot out of that.
And you mentioned college. You might want to just give a shout out to which college that is so people know.
Oh, yes. Old Dominion University. And you're familiar with it, I'm sure, having spent some time in the city here. It's changed a lot. And they have a really thriving film program now. And two of the professors over there serve as our programming committee. And they do a fantastic job every year. So I'm excited about that.
Great. Well, thank you. I will obviously be sure to include a link to the whole thing on the webpage for the show. And it's good to talk to you again this year.
You too, Jerry, as always.
I will.
Looking forward to seeing y'all. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Thanks for programming our film. We're looking forward to it.
Me too. See you soon.
All right, Catherine. So how did you get wind of this? Were you one of the viewers, or how did you find out about this program in the first place?
Yeah, actually, I was not on the net. I wasn't familiar with it. I was sheltering at home with my kids. I had made this a different documentary that Andrea had seen, and she called me and said, "Hey, I saw your documentary. I really like it. Could I program it on Women on the Net?" Well, I was like, "Sure. What's that?" And so then she laid it out for me, and I was very excited. And then we had dinner together, and we've been friends ever since. So at some point, we both came up with the idea of this should be a documentary, what she's doing. Andrea is an incredible community organizer and producer and everything. And this, Women on the Net, she was producing basically a live daily show. I mean, by herself. And I've directed live TV, like noon talk shows and newscasts and all. And I was stunned when I realized that she was doing this on her own and very impressed. So yes, we should do a documentary. And we launched into it. It had its share of challenges because everything in it is a talking head.
Right. Yeah.
And when you're producing a film, you want action and people like to see B-roll and you don't want to see jump cuts, where you cut somebody's soundbite together and usually cover it. But there was really nothing to cover things with other than gallery view shots, which there was just more hits.
Yeah.
So that was a big challenge. And the fact that I hadn't been online watching it, I wasn't familiar with all of the different programming that she was doing. So in telling the story, I had to familiarize myself with that and then request examples of that from the princess of the back end, she calls herself, who helped, she would record it. And she
Shout out to Kim Crabtree.
Yeah, bless her heart. I would send her lists of things that I needed. And eventually it just all kind of came together. But the editing was massive, as you can imagine.
I'm sure. Speaking of editing, the shooting, there are interviews all over the place. Did you go to all those places with a crew, or did you have crews in each city who shot it for you? Or how did you get all that footage?
I shot every bit of it myself.
Wow.
And I went to all those cities. At the beginning, I planned a trip to the East Coast where I went from rural upstate New York all the way to Miami and many places in between. I think I did 12 interviews in 10 different cities.
How many total interviews do you recall?
15, maybe?
Okay.
Maybe more.
I think about 15 is right.
Yeah.
And then I had the celebrities, and those I tried to pick up when I was in the same city. So some of them were in LA. When I was coming up as a young producer-director, I had to shoot it, edit it, write it, get it on the air. And so I have those skills. And okay, call me a control freak. I mean, I love doing it all. And that was a challenge, actually, for both Andrea and I, because we both are that type of producer.
There must have been a budget for you to do all that. Where did you find the money for that? Or are y'all just both independently wealthy?
By the time we went into production on the film, it was well established, and the regulars were the family. It was a family of women that came together. They didn't know each other before. They all lived in different places in the world, but they got very close and hanging out every single night. And so when we were ready, we did a crowdfunder to the base of women who participated.
Right.
I have 10,000 women on my mailing list. Anyway, we put it out to them, and they came through for us, like in a big way.
Beyond that, just our friends and family. I remember one day, Andrea said, "Hey, who is this guy? He donated $100. I said, "Oh, that's my cousin in Cincinnati." And he just out of the blue, donated. It was great. People were very supportive.
Catherine, at one point in your life, you were in Roanoke. You mentioned Norfolk already. How did you get to Roanoke?
When I graduated from college in 1976, I sent out 75 resumes to the Southeast. I got a phone call one day from the production manager at WSLS TV in Roanoke, and he hired this green 23-year-old Yankee, and I bring that up because it was an issue.
And a woman to top it off.
A woman. Oh, absolutely. I was the first woman that they had ever hired in production there. I ended up in Roanoke for 13 years, some of the best years of my life. I love Virginia.
Welcome back, virtually, anyway.
Thank you.
Andrea, let me ask you about some of these stars. I mean, you kind of answered that already because you had relationships with all of these people from, like you said, from Lily Tomlin, Meredith Baxter, Sharon Gless. Were they doing this for free and love, or were you paying them an honorarium, or did they just do it because they wanted to spread the love?
Mostly they did it for free. And the bigger the name, the freer they did it. It came different ways. Lily Tomlin came to me through a friend of mine. She called me like, okay, what do we need to do to get this? Like, she was very much all in. So she did it twice because the first time we had tech issues and it didn't get recorded. And I asked her to come back, and she was on for 2 hours. There was stuff on that show. There was never before seen footage from her TV shows. Such a wealth of archives that we could talk about, and she could share with us the stories. It was amazing. Coming every night was free for the first 5 months, And I thought I would do it for a month or two, thinking, oh, then we'll go back to our lives as we knew them. But no, that didn't happen. At some point, we made it a subscription-based entity, or you could just pay as you go. And all along, we offered a lot of free stuff. I was able to now pay talent for coming on. In the beginning, talent would come on and perform, and they would have what we called a virtual tip jar. That worked really well. These performers were getting paid when they weren't getting bookings because they couldn't go anywhere. They weren't raking it in, but they were making decent money for staying home in their living room and showing up for an hour. So that was cool.
You finally got to have the grand in-person meeting, which obviously I'm assuming, Catherine, you were there shooting all of that. What were some of the fun things and some of the challenges of that event?
For me, it was great because all those women that I had interviewed on my big trip to the East Coast, they were all there. And I was able to see in person this family that developed. I mean, these women really love each other and they've stayed connected all these years. And then Andrea got there and they were just, oh my gosh, you know, and there was just so much love and hugs going on. And it happened at the baggage claim in Boston when we were all on our way to Women's Week in Provincetown. It was a lovely, unexpectedly loving experience. And they were used to the camera by then, like nobody was acting for the camera.
You did a good job of being a fly on the wall, though. I was so taken with seeing people, because for me, it was the first time I saw them too. I've been taking women to Women's Week in Provincetown for nearly 30 years. So it was the first time I met them in person too. We didn't see her. You know, we were all enamored with hugging and seeing each other. She captured all this. I'm like, oh, when I saw the footage, I'm like, I didn't even notice you.
You talked about the biggest challenge, which was not having B-roll, because basically it was a lot of talking heads. Were there any other challenges of putting it together, whether it was shooting it or editing it?
Getting the right footage to tell the story was hard because Kim, who worked her butt off for me, she never told a story in 3 minutes. You know, so she would send me, oh, you want something, you know, where somebody bears their soul? She'd send me 1.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't use that. You know, I was looking for 12 seconds,
of course,
5 seconds. So that was difficult communicating that to her. And so sometimes I would just ask for the whole show and I would find a moment in there.
I mean, I was pretty much involved in pre-production because she didn't know the players to interview, like who the main people were. And then during production, I had the misfortune of becoming a widow. I lost my wife.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I couldn't show up for her in post-production. The film was very triggering to me. Obviously, my wife was a big part of me launching this, and my wife had been featured on many times because she was in television. So I was a mess, and it prolonged the completion of the film, I would say, a year. And Catherine was patient for that. But I know it was a frustrating time for her because she'd worked so hard on editing it, and she really needed my input on that piece of it. When I could show up, we worked really well together in post. It was few and far between and long waits.
Well, you got there, and what's next with it? Are you just doing more festivals at this point?
Yeah, we're on the festival circuit.
I was just going to say, we just got back from Durham, where it played at Out South.
We're going to be the next one I know after this one. Immediately after that is Cinema Diverse in Palm Springs.
Oh, great. My Dirt Woman movie played there in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I know so many people, all the lesbians are moving there. Palm Springs I'll just interject this because I love this. Palm Springs, I used to always call it a place for the gays and the grays. Now I call it a place for the gray gays. So, I know so many lesbians that have retired there.
I think we're also screening in San Antonio.
We are.
In the next month or so.
Good.
Eventually it will stream. I am getting ready to launch a YouTube channel, Andrea Meyerson Productions. And this will be there along with Catherine's work and all of my films. I have 12 feature documentaries. Catherine has a lot. We both have a lot of work between us. But it's mainly a space for my work, but it will also be a space for other lesbian artists, other lesbian filmmakers that want a space to showcase their work. So that will be coming soon to a YouTube channel near you soon.
Oh, good. Was Women on the Net strictly limited to lesbians?
No, it was not. We always encourage everybody to attend. I will tell the programming was really geared towards the women's community.
Right.
But we always had, and we had guests, we had gay filmmakers come. We'll show your film, Jerry.
Oh,
bring
okay.
your film. Always people we didn't say you can't come because you were born a man. We never said that. So people could come. It's just that I will say the programming was most attractive to lesbians and queer women. I will say that. It's just kind of my brand, but the entire LGBTQ community is and always will be welcome, as well as our heterosexual allies.
I just like to mention that this film, An Unexpected Community, has also been very well received by both gay men and heterosexual ones.
Oh, good.
Sometimes more so by gay men. They love it.
Aha, great,
Exactly.
great. Yeah, I had a good time. I enjoyed it. Well, all the comics are still great.
Right.
I would like to just put out there that it's so important to support independent filmmakers, especially LGBT filmmakers, by any donations you ever want to make, but also just supporting the film festivals, because I think that it's changing, and there's nothing like seeing a film on a big screen.
Absolutely.
And having the opportunity to meet the filmmakers and vice versa. When you work so hard on something, it's great to get that feedback in person.
Yeah.
So I just encourage people to support the film festivals.
Great. Well, Andrea and Catherine, I want to thank you so much. It was great to get to meet y'all in person after seeing Andrea on the screen and seeing the film. So thank you so much, and good luck with the Queer Festival here, and good luck with the movie on streaming.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the invitation to be part of your podcast. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great.
That was Andrea Meyerson, who created her Women on the Net community of lesbians during COVID. She co-produced the documentary An Unexpected Community with director Catherine L. Baranek. It will screen at this year's Virginia Queer Film Festival, which runs September 12th through 14th at Old Dominion University in Norfolk. And I'll have a link on the webpage for this show at tvjerry.com.
Coming soon. In theaters.
The Roses. This is an update on the 1989 dark comedy The War of the Roses about a married couple whose relationship gets downright nasty. This one stars Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch as the Roses, and also features Kate McKinnon, Andy Samberg, and Allison Janney, helmed by the great comic director Jay Roach. Caught Stealing. Austin Butler plays a burned-out ex-baseball player who finds himself embroiled in a dangerous struggle for survival in the criminal underbelly of 1990s New York City. It's directed by Darren Aronofsky, best known for The Whale, Black Swan, and Requiem for a Dream. The Toxic Avenger Unrated. Peter Dinklage takes on the title role in this remake of the classic monster film. Run. This week's thriller puts a group of friends at a cabin in the woods where they have to evade the alien attack on Earth. Jaws 50th Anniversary. Need I say more?
TV and streaming.
Not much new stuff streaming this week. Trail of Vengeance on Hulu. Set in 1875, a widow's life is upended by her husband's murder, orchestrated by a nefarious colonel. Then she crosses paths with a former Pinkerton agent, with Rumer Willis and Jeff Fahey. Two Graves on Netflix. This Spanish series follows a woman who's searching for her 16-year-old granddaughter. Next week, we'll feature the first of two podcasts on the upcoming Richmond International Film Festival. This is Jerry Williams. Thanks for listening.
For more Sifter, including literally thousands of reviews,
visit tvjerry.com.
That's a wrap.